Banana Fish, as far as I can remember, is very special. Not just because the story got me by the balls by the end of episode 2, and seemingly every episode afterwards till the very end, rather because of how it handles its characters, elements of foreshadowing, the build-up for each arc and payoff, as well as the handlings of friendship, love, and loyalty, are handled in such a way that even when I started to explain how these ideas melt together to form what I would say is one of the best love stories I have witnessed in a very long time, doesn't even scratch the surface of what Banana Fish can offer to you, the viewer. Maybe I'm over exaggerating it a bit, but as far as I can remember, it's been a long while since I watched an anime that could give me such an emotional reaction to just witness a modern day story of two star-crossed lovers who were never meant to be together. Hi, my name is Momo, and today I'm reviewing Banana Fish. Banana Fish is great. It is simply wonderful. I'm cutting to the chase here because Banana Fish doesn't deserve the whole, oh, is it good? I don't know, maybe. Nah, fuck it. It's good. Hell, it's fucking great. For good reason too. Its story, characters, themes, music, design, direction, art style, and overall package is just simply something I cannot easily break down enough to explain to you how great this show is. Mainly for the fact that I do not want to spoil the experience for you, so I'll do my best to avoid that in this video. Banana Fish's plot is rather complicated to a degree. With such a large number of players in the story, we have our main lead Ash Lynx, a 17-year-old gang leader who is also the sex slave of Mafia Don Galzino, and took Ash under his wing to teach him everything to not only take advantage of his good looks, but also give him the skills of a trained assassin, along with all of this honing Ash's intelligence to outwit his opponents at any turn. Ash one day finds a dying man in the alleyways of New York, where the man utters the phrase Banana Fish as well as a California address before passing away. Ash, involved in the underground world of the mafia and gangs of New York, is thrown into a life-changing journey to unravel the mystery of who or what Banana Fish is. Along the journey, a boy named Eiji Akumura comes into Ash's life, a shy boy who has come to New York to take up photography with his sensei, as well to interview Ash on his life as a gang leader at such a young age. Before long, these two start to have a bond that becomes much greater than just your typical friendship. Now as Banana Fish and Eiji entering into Ash's Lynx's life, it is now time for him to start protecting all that he loves, or crash under the weight of everything that will come his way. One of the big things about Banana Fish that many people who were fans of the original manga when it debuted back in 1984 like to point out is the homosexual nature of Banana Fish. For how progressive the series is, ranging from Ash Lynx, a bisexual man who is used to being mistaken for a woman but pursued for his good looks for many people, to some people like Galzine, who uses his power and money to abuse little boys and use them for illicit means. Now mind you, while I said progressive, there are quite a few bad players in the story that are not meant to be taken as good representation of gay men. Rather, they are there to illustrate the ugly underbelly that plagued many people's minds and views of gay men that was prevalent in the 80s and time periods before then. Mainly for the fact that for a short period of time, gay men were associated with the idea that because they were attracted to males, they would also be attracted in boys and try to take advantage of such. For Banana Fish, however, the progressive nature of the series takes a very positive approach towards its good relationships with its characters, while condemning others for their horrible actions and deeds, to the point where many people use Banana Fish as a showcase of positive, healthy relationships in the LGBT community for literature, while condemning other genres like yaoi that uses tropes as sexual assault as a means of showing love to one another. For a series that started back in 1984, the way that shows off these relationships was treated as one of the highlights for such a gritty crime drama that was labeled as a shoujo series. Now for those who are not familiar with shoujo, it's a type of demographic placed on certain media in Japan that attracts mainly young women to read stories ranging from fantasy to romance. So for Banana Fish to have this demographic label slapped on it for such a serious series, it attracted not just young girls and women, but boys, men to read this story, causing quite a stir in the community as Banana Fish continued on during its publication run. Studio Mappa heading this project has really made me consider them to be one of the best animation studios in the industry this last decade. They have had hit after hit after hit. Working with many creative and talented working individuals in the anime world, it's no wonder that Banana Fish came out as well as it did. Their track record could all go all the way back to when the studio started back in 2011, coming out with Kids on the Slope, directed by the Shinshiro Watanabe, who would go on to direct Terror Resonance, also made by Mappa. A year after Terror Resonance, my favorite series that Mappa has done so far and hasn't been toppled yet in my opinion has been Garo the Carved Seals of Flames, quite possibly one of the best anime series I have ever seen. Now after this, Mappa has continued to make hits like Punchline, adapted Ushiro and Taro with Studio Valone, which I've heard amazing things from its adaptation in the original manga, to the now world famous anime Yuri on Ice. So I'm sure you can probably see where I get this notion that MAPPA is an amazing studio. MAPPA has had an amazing impact on the industry over the last decade, and with it to end the decade with Banana Fish, as well as a couple other anime that are currently airing now from them, it's not hard to see why I have so much respect for MAPPA. Along with MAPPA working on the adaptation for Banana Fish, we have the director Hiroko Utsumi, whose past work was the director as well as the storyboard art for Free Season 1 and Season 2 by KyoAni. So not only does Banana Fish have a very capable director behind his production, but also has the element of a studio full of artists, animators, and creatives who are willing to put in the time, effort, and dedication to their craft to make one of the best anime of the year, if not maybe the anime of the decade. There certainly is the discussion about the relationships it shows in the series, as well as the set of typecasting an anime could be labeled with that can shock you with what it contains, but other than that, the series doesn't further warrant discussion, analysis, or speculation, unfortunately. It is a show that starts and ends. With 5 great arcs and a 24-episode season, Banana Fish manages to give his audience a fantastic crime drama that will melt your heart with its content and break your spirit with the harsh reality that our main cast has to live in. Banana Fish doesn't try to hold back on anything horrible that occurs in its 24-episode span. There's plenty of murder, rape, kidnapping, gang violence, as well as political corruption that could easily be side stories in and of themselves, but for this story, comes as one big package. If there's a few things I would say that does work against Banana Fish, it's the simple fact that there's quite a few instances in the story's plot that are very convenient for both sides of the cast to be affected by, causing what I would like to say is a very poor management of characters, but because of these conveniences, they're forgiven for the simple fact that certain characters cannot continue or die, or else the story just simply does not play out as it needs to. Not saying that these characters are like necessarily shot, but they kind of just go through everything with nothing but bullets, but I mean, there's a certain point where characters are either injured, kidnapped, or even just left alone for another set of characters to come in and attempt to finish up the job. It's one of those weird plot armor situations that quite a few characters are affected by in the show, and it doesn't really become apparent until I'm reviewing this series again, thinking about certain moments and going, why the fuck did this not happen? And then going, oh! Now, mind you, this for me does not necessarily ruin the show overall opinion that I have for it, but it does ruin more of the more immersive moments that does happen as I was engulfed in the series. Along with this, some storylines, while they all did wrap up and get done with, did feel kind of rushed for the most part. Maybe due to the importance that some side plots that didn't really have in comparison to others, but regardless, that feeling never really left me as the show was going on. While it's all said and done, Banana Fish really just simply amazes me. It continues to stay fresh on my mind weeks after finishing it, wanting to find more people to talk about it with, which has led me to review it. I feel the love, passion, and hard work that went into the show from the moment I realized how far this plot would go by episode 10, and I'm just happy to have finally watched something that has been seemingly a hidden gem in a world full of crap, if I'm being honest. And I would highly recommend anybody and everybody to give it a chance. I used to give a rating system, but honestly, until I figure out this whole reviewing thing, that's going to be off the table. Just go watch yourself some Banana Fish. Do yourself a favor. My goodness, please. With all that said and done, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Love to hear what your thoughts are in the comments. Follow me on my social media, and make sure to have a damn good one.